Come here. Come here. Come here, you. Come here, you.
Hello. Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Thank you. Well, hello.
Well, hello.
Well, hello there, motherfucker. Welcome to the stream, baby. Welcome to the fucking stream. Let's go, baby. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna spread this fucking jam on this toast. Did I tell you my emotions will crush your fucking rationalization? That's what's gonna fucking happen, dude. You think you can fucking stop me? You think you can fucking stop me? Huh? You think twice about that, buddy. Talking to Apfel today. But we might talk about a bunch of other shit, not just the emotions versus rationality thing. But you can't fucking beat me on that. No way. One more piece of toast. Some Jewish rye. I've been fucking writing today. Been writing a lot. Rewriting. Writing, rewriting. rewriting, rethinking. I have so many fucking things started. Apfel says he needs just a couple minutes more to finish up some work he was doing. Then he'll join us. Almost done with my Substack post, Becoming Max. At least I think. It's not even that long. But I keep rewriting it. Also writing my rap song, Sexual Retard. Also writing a bunch of other shit, and just journaling in general. There's a lot of fucking shit in the works.
Well, hello there.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to the Smeth Den. Get your fucking ass down your fucking seat. We're gonna fucking talk about a bunch of things. What are the suggested topics that are gonna come up? Not only emotions versus rationality, but also we've got anti-Semitism, abuse, and feminism. I don't know how these connect, but I can imagine it. Excuse me. American education and woke on college campuses. Trans, gender, and sexuality. Eating disorders, working out, body image. Writing, poetry, and analysis. GPT-4, artificial intelligence, and rationality. Okay. That's basically everything under the sun. It could go anywhere, but no matter where it goes, rest assured that I'll be as emotional as possible and try to make sure nobody rationalizes me out of it. Alright, he should be finishing up soon, probably. I just want to write. I just want to make shit. I just want to make my rap song. There's so many fucking distractions. You're a distraction. Writing. My brain is completely absorbed, completely engulfed in this essay I'm writing and this song I'm writing. And I can't talk about it. I need to fucking write it. But I also gotta stream, or else you guys are gonna fucking cry about it. So I gotta fucking stream. Stream is not the perfect place to fucking get something really good out there. Streams are just so ethereal. They fucking dust in the wind. I could do 1,000,000 of them. Streaming is about... First, you get to explore some cool ideas on the cuff with streaming. You get to explore human-to-human interaction, sociality exchanges, but you don't get to really buckle down and make something really thick and goopy. It's really watered down, light, milky strands. But I'm trying to make some fucking ropes. Need to fucking weave some fibers. Need to make a fucking web. And fucking lodge myself on it. I need to build a web for you to see me on. Also, coming upstream, stream plan that's in the works. Apfel says he's ready, so I'm gonna call him. A stream is in the works. I'll tell you about that in a second. Yo.
Oh. What's up?
What's up? I got a stream in the works. That have you heard about it? I'm gonna be auctioned off to a black woman as reparations. I'll be a slave for 1 week.
That's interesting.
It's gonna be hosted by Reservoir. It's gonna be like a dating show, but also like a slave auction.
That's weird. That's kind of creepy, you know?
Yeah.
But how's it an auction if you're the only one being sold? Like, usually they get all like the families together and then they sell them off one by one. You have to like get your parents.
Am I competing for them or are they competing for me? I don't get to pick, do I? I don't know. I
think what used to happen is they'd make like the slaves like, because you were getting sold from like one master to another master, right?
Right.
So the master who's selling you wants to get like a good price.
Yeah.
So he wants to like, he or she like wants to make you like flex and like show all your skills.
That sounds bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, there's a reason it's called chattel slavery, I guess.
But... Yeah, it's the chattel part, not the slavery part that sucks. Now I get it.
I guess you might do okay, depending who your master is. I don't know.
Anyway, I titled my stream, I will... What did I title it? My emotions will crush your rationalizations.
Ooh. Scary.
Yeah. You just got accepted into grad school last night?
Yeah. I have kind of mixed feelings about it now. Because in my Chinese class, we had like a whole discussion about how grad school is a scam. And so I spent all night last night like researching to see like if the program I got into is a scam or not. But inconclusive as of yet.
Yeah. I can't help you there. I was told not to do grad school for fine arts. But also it probably would have been great of an experience.
Yeah, I think it seems like you're pretty interested in arts. I think you definitely would have gotten something out of it. I don't know if it probably wouldn't be like an economically like viable decision for you though.
No.
Yeah, I'm doing engineering, so like I guess it's one of those things where like from a jobs perspective it's probably gonna help, but on the other hand I don't know if like the skills that I'm gonna learn are necessarily like that useful.
I gotta like put a filter on you because you look like you're like in a shower in a scene in The Matrix. So hold on. I need to like...
my camera like broke a while back, so now it just looks like I'm underwater every time.
I'll do this and this. Hey, that's a little bit better, I guess. Anyway, so what do you want to argue with me about with this?
Yeah,
you're the one who suggested the topic.
Yeah, so there's a couple different things. I feel like you have like a very I guess emotional worldview where like maybe it's not as important to you like what the actual truth of the matter is. And I think you have like an instinct to try and like protect people from like an emotional standpoint. I think like one of the biggest like areas of disagreement I have with you based on this is like your take on abuse. And I
Just
feel
in
like
general?
this,
What is
yeah,
it that I think?
well, I feel like you think things are abuse that I probably wouldn't think are abuse.
Well, yeah, that's because well, that's just definitions. I use a more broad definition so I can talk about more nuanced, subtle things. But doesn't mean I think it's the same as like, rape or, you know, slavery, whatever.
Yeah, but I think like this like change in language about abuse is like kind of like a big thing that it kind of shows a bigger issue in society that I think we're having right now. Which,
Okay.
yeah, I could try to explain it.
I think it leads to issues because people don't want to actually go there. Because if you're going to broaden the definitions, you also have to be more understanding at the same time. And people aren't willing to go there, I think, because social media doesn't work that way. You are supposed to look as clean as possible. Because it's easiest to moderate that way, easiest to monetize that way. So I disagree that I have a super emotional worldview. I disagree with that framing. I just think that I so an axiom, nerds like you use words like axiom. An
Sure.
axiom is just a gut feeling.
Okay.
Do you disagree with that?
Or like you're talking about like building some system up from like first principles, and you're saying like it's based on your like gut feelings, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually agree with that. I think,
Why did you say it like
but
that?
but like my thing is that I feel like maybe this isn't necessarily like what you're doing, but I feel like there's some contradiction with some things where you say where like these whole narratives about abuse seem to be um like going in the other direction of like personal agency, which I think we think it would be healthier if people in our society feel like they have more personal agency. I think if we talk about how people are like being abused, it kind of robs them of that agency and kind of like creates this culture of
Well,
like
yes, I agree.
victimhood.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. Um, yeah. So I just see these as different conversations, and I try to have them at different times. Um, the victimhood conversation is only important if you don't think you're a victim. Otherwise, it really could be unhelpful. You need to learn how you are victimizing yourself, and um, like behaviors. So like often, if you are claiming that you're being abused, the go-to place on the internet is, oh yeah, but you should have expected that, blah blah blah, and it's like that is a conversation to be had, but not in the moment that someone is telling you that they think you're abusing them. You know what I mean? Like that's literal. That just effectively is a Darvo. So there are truths to those conversations, but there are you should also listen to people when they tell you that they are being abused, and that is different from a victimhood identity, which is a big issue. Being a victim is very profitable these days. You can make your whole life about being a victim. You can make money off of it. You can make a career off of it. That's very different. You can interrupt me.
No, I'm kind of because I have like I don't know if you see this.
Okay.
I have my notes written down, so
Okay.
I'm trying to think of where I want to go with this because it seems like what you're saying is you kind of view the conversation about abuse like similar to maybe something like systemic racism, where if you're talking to someone who like maybe doesn't feel like they're a victim of abuse, like it could be a useful lens with them, but you wouldn't want to say like you wouldn't want to like talk with an individual and
Yeah.
be like, oh, you can't do anything in life because of systemic racism, even though on a large scale it
Yeah.
might be a factor.
And there's another layer to that immediately was I thought you were going to go to, but you didn't, where with systemic racism, like there's also a conversation to be had about like how people are playing into their own systemic racism. You know, you are victimizing yourself when you are like, and it's not necessarily because you're choosing to, but you still are, and you should talk about it, but not in the moment that we're talking about, you know, like those are different conversations. You shouldn't use that to discredit the struggle that someone's going through. You should use it to help them overcome it, and not to shut down their recognition at all that they're having.
Okay, wait, okay, this is kind of what I wanted to talk about actually, because I think I agree that like the idea of like abuse might be like have some utility for some people, but I think that sometimes people create like a narrative around it that ends up like also like being to their detriment at the same time. And so I think one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about is like how can you like create a self narrative that like is both like realistic and like congruent with reality, but also like provides you with something like community or like an explanation for your life or something like that.
You can only fail. You can't see yourself very clearly. You can only look at yourself through a murky, muddy sheet of glass. You can see others more clearly than you can see yourself.
I feel like my experience is kind of like, on one hand, you get like presented with narratives about yourself from like the outside world, and like, for example, like what it means to be a man, or like what it means to be African American, or what it means to be Jewish.
Can we use
But then you also like access them from like movies and TV shows, like, or music. And then I think when it comes to like creating your own narratives, I think one of like the powerful tools for constructing them might be like art or like writing or poetry. Like I heard you're making a Substack, which I thought was interesting. And I think that like one of the ways that you can see yourself more clearly is by kind of like writing and like self-expression.
Yeah, sure, but it depends on who you're writing to. I do agree. I just think that it's easier to write about other people than it is about yourself.
I think like when you're writing about other people, like on some level, you're really like writing about yourself. Maybe that's just my experience.
Oh yes, of course. I feel like every time we go anywhere, you change the topic to something else.
Yeah, I have so many things I want to talk about. I don't know.
We need to like pick one.
Okay. Let's see. I guess.
I don't know what it is that you're trying to talk to me
Okay,
about.
this is what happens when I'm like talking to people, is I like will talk about one thing and then I'll like see all the connections in my mind and I want to go everywhere.
That's why I think that it's hard to know yourself very well, because you have a lot of connections within your own experiences and thoughts about yourself and all these narratives from TV and things everybody's told you, and which ones do you hold on to, which ones do you linger on, which ones do you focus on? You can't know. It takes a lot of trial and error and work to try to figure that out. But with other people, you can don't have all that baggage to deal with it. You're bringing in your own baggage. And yeah, that's a different conversation. But I think with other people, you're able to see it.
You're able to see their like who they are more clearly.
Yeah.
Hmm. What's like? How would you use that like information? Like, are you just like? Is this similar to like stereotyping people?
No.
Hmm. I guess one of the things, because I was listening to you talk to this Drew guy. I think you talked to him a couple of times, right?
Yep.
And I thought when you were talking about unschooling, it seems pretty interesting to me. Because I think because he said he was unschooled, so he was homeschooled, and his parents didn't like make him do any like formal education, basically.
Right.
And then you were saying that you felt like you homeschooled yourself or
I
unschooled
unschooled. I
yourself.
feel like I like as kind of a joke, but I said that because I tried to, I tried to take school as not seriously as possible until college.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a very common like thing that I've seen. Like based on my own experience, like
Does this have something to
I
do with the last
basically
thing we were talking about? It's
I
okay. We
think
can continue, but we need
okay,
to
okay. My
continue.
like connection here is um like I'm thinking about like what types of experiences or like what evidence do I have that like builds my self-identity? And I think
Why are you asking these questions?
because I think
Because at
I don't
the
know.
end,
I
because
just
at the core of it, there's a reason that you're asking yourself that,
yeah.
and that's an emotional
So I
reason.
think the past year I was going going through something where I was um like who am I? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so I want to find like pieces of evidence to like construct my identity with. So that's not, like kind of why I'm interested in these questions.
Constructing your identity.
Or like deciding like what narrative I think fits me. Does that make sense? Like I think you just said it takes like a lot of trial and error, right?
Okay, but there's no true narrative about you. The narrative about you is basically the same as the narrative about every other human, with very, very, very small differences. And I think that we build these narratives about ourselves. Mostly, it's a fantasy. It's almost. I think narratives are not. Narratives are the least rational. They're useful, but they're not. You find truth through a narrative. A narrative isn't truth. That's what I think.
I think a good narrative. Have you heard of like the okay, this is gonna sound like
What?
another tangent, but I promise it's
Wait,
on
wait, wait, wait,
topic.
wait, wait, wait. What? What is your narrative about yourself? Like a part of it, at least. Like, what is it? What are you
Um
asking about yourself? Like that you're comfortable talking about. You know.
yeah, I guess I don't know. I think I have like a pretty big ego of my for myself and um but I also have like an instinct to like think like, oh, I'm not that smart or whatever. So that like propels me to try and like find a reason for why I might like have this ego.
Hmm.
So
I feel that a lot. But I don't
yeah.
know why you're asking yourself why you have the ego. You should be asking yourself why you don't think you're smart.
Hmm. But I think I do.
You do think you're smart?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe that's where like fuck, you made me forget what I was. Oh, I remember. Wait, what was your question just now?
You think you're smart. I think you're smart.
Okay. Yeah. Fuck, now I forgot what it was.
You I know like I'm familiar with you.
Oh.
I know things about you. Like I don't know how much I can like how
Oh. Yeah, you can just say whatever.
you're like I think a lot of this makes sense because you're like black and Jewish. You're questioning your gender. You've got all these questions and like being black and Jewish is like very rare. Like so like I feel like that probably makes you feel disconnected in a way, and you're trying to. It makes sense that you're confused about how you fit in, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like a pretty big theme in my life.
Yeah.
But okay, I remember what I was gonna say though. Because you were saying that like narratives aren't very like logical, like they're very like spiritual and
They can even be. I think they can be scientific, but that doesn't make them a cold hard fact. I think that psychology is a scientific narrative field. We use science and data and research to construct narratives as best we can. But those narratives are really just loose, kind of creative things that we're using to kind of explain or describe trends that they're not even necessarily right. It's just are the best foot we have to put forward. And so it's filtered through a lot of bias and through however we're able to test or not test or whatever data we have access to.
yeah, I think that's similar to where I was kind of going. Because I feel like a good narrative, like maybe like a diagnosis in psychology is um based on facts, but there's also like a spiritual or like symbolic or like higher level element to it, I'd say. Like I think maybe what I'm thinking of isn't quite like a psychological narrative, which that would be like you find like a group of symptoms and then you group them into one diagnosis. But
But when it's
I think what
yourself,
I'm
you can be more. You can be like, I'm like this. The reason I doubt myself so much is because my parents did this, and I went through this, and and then those can be like narratives about why you are the way you are. It sounds like you're not because for me those kind of self narratives start with trying to like say why am I like this, but you're trying to say what am I, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Or well, I think what I'm talking about is more of like a prescription, I'd say. Like I think everyone um should question what am I and then like kind of try and choose some like good adaptive stories to tell about themselves. And I think why I said I wanted to talk about emotion and rationality is because I think that there can be like an emotional side of these narratives that like makes you feel good. But I think that they should try and be representative of like reality as well at the same time. I don't know.
To me, that sounds like you're letting other people run your mind. So, for me, there sounds like the distinction would be you have a narrative about yourself that I have fucking ADHD and then think about why and how that affects you, whatever. Or you can have a narrative that like I am a man and like all these types of things are letting other people's collective perception control how you see yourself.
Yeah.
You're just a fucking bean.
I don't know, but I don't think people can see themselves as like beings.
I think about how
But I think what you
other
can
people's
do.
I think about how other people's perception of me affects me. I don't think about their perception of me as a fact of myself. I think it's a fact of my environment. Not myself, it's my environment. And I can control like say that I am in school. I noticed that if you are wearing glasses and you're like in the hall when you're not supposed to be, the chances of like you getting in trouble are way less than if you're not wearing glasses. It's just some bias that all these teachers have. So if you wanted to control how you interface with your environment, you could start wearing glasses to try to fool them so you can be out of class more. But that's not really a change within you. You're just changing how you interface with your environment. It's not that you're different. You're still the same thing. You're just wearing glasses now.
Yeah.
And that narrative, so there's like the artistic narrative, which is how you define yourself to others. Like as a like artist, you have to like build a persona or like a narrative. You build narratives, and that's like building a narrative as a person that wears glasses, so that people see you in a more sympathetic way. But it's really not you. It's just a narrative you've created, and you want to create the narrative starting from what other people are telling you about yourself, rather than starting with yourself about what you want to tell other people.
I think what I want to do is, which I guess might be impossible, but start with, okay, let's say that you do wear glasses, right? Like, you could theoretically, like wear contacts instead, and like no one would know that you actually have poor vision. But I think the trait that I actually would want to like care about narrativizing is that you have poor vision.
Yeah, I think I value honesty a lot too.
And so I think like maybe okay, let's talk about like blind and deaf people, for example.
I think my title was good because I think you're doing a lot of rationalizing. Instead of just figuring out how you feel, you want to rationalize more.
I love rationalizing.
Yeah. I'll do my best to crush it. So that you have to feel your own feelings. Cuz I think that's what you actually are like. The rationalizing becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to have to keep rationalizing and keep rationalizing. But really, the real thing underneath is always the same.
I think the rationalizing is like a matrix that allows you to feel your feelings, or feel like that your feelings are valid.
Why do you feel like they're not valid?
Or I think that they can't be like valid without justification. Is that a weird idea?
Yes, I don't agree with that one.
Because okay, what was I talking about? Oh, really? Right, blind and deaf people. Because so they have this like disability, right?
Right. They're blind and deaf.
And so the like their feelings about the disability, some of them nowadays, is that it's not actually a disability, but it's like a positive factor in their life. Like, oh, I'm blind, so I have like more spatial awareness, like I can hear like things more like distinctly.
That's a cope. Sure, maybe you
Yeah, and
force
so
yourself, but you can't see, so you have to focus on hearing more.
yeah, it's a cope.
Yeah.
So I think that it's fine for people to cope, but I
Yeah.
think that they should have logical copes that aren't
Well,
gonna
it
like
still can be
influence
true.
them to
It still can be
have like
true.
deaf children.
It's still you could be deaf, and it could still be true that you are trained. You've trained your brain to be better at focusing on the sounds, because you're not focusing on sight at all. To some extent, that's true, but you're still that's not like the amount that you're better at hearing is nothing compared to the amount that you're bad at seeing.
Yeah, so I think people should have like a healthier cope where it might be like, even though I have this
What
disability,
makes
I'm
that
still,
what makes that unhealthy?
or what makes the first one unhealthy?
Yeah.
Um, Maybe it could be healthy for the individual, but I think that it's this ideology that has influenced people to um, prevent their children from having like surgery to fix their genetic uh, blindness or deafness. So I think that's what I would say is unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
It's
think that just goes to show like if you're having like
well, it's
your emotions in the wrong way, it could be bad.
it's true, and like it's true that you can be better at hearing because you're blind, but not because your ears are better. It's just because you trained your brain more and you're focusing on it more, and you think about it more, and that doesn't completely make up for the fact that you're blind at all. And so you can still have that narrative and not be crazy.
Yeah, I think that's a good narrative to have. That's what I'm saying people should have.
Right. Yeah, I think people should
But I think
not
that
be
that
religious either.
yeah, but I think that involves some like restraining of your own emotions by like logical reasoning.
But I don't. What do you mean by restraining? I don't agree.
Like
You are saying that because to have that contradiction, to be blind and live with the fact that it sucks and you're not better off for whatever stupid reason, when you believe that you're actually fine and that you're better off because you're blind, that act is actually you restraining. The better word would be repressing your emotions and not feeling all those bad feelings and bad feelings that you actually have because you're fucking blind. So you pretend that it doesn't matter so you don't have to feel bad. But to admit it is the opposite of repression. Admitting it means you're gonna feel bad.
okay. I like that actually.
There's a narrative for you.
I'm trying to make like a system that works. Like, okay, let's see how it works with like religion. So you said you're against religion, right?
Yeah, I mean, I also, just like I know that being blind technically can make you better at hearing in some ways, not mechanically, but because you have to use your brain with hearing more. religion helps people in a lot of ways, and it does a lot of good things, but also it's like being mentally ill, and I don't believe that mental illness is a solution to a problem. It's a compounding problem.
Yeah. I think if I remember from talking to you previously, I think it seems like you have a very absolutist view of like solving problems. Like you wouldn't want to have like a bad, like the process is important to you and the outcome has to be like un what's the word,
Underpants.
like unmuddied by like difficulty, or
Understrained?
I don't know, I'm not saying it right.
Unmuddied by what?
Like for example, I was watching the Drew combo today, so I'll use like another example from that. But like he was saying that people should like call each other like they them, and that would like fix a problem between
In the Smash
in the
community.
Smash community.
Yeah.
Where people felt like they were being misgendered, but then other people felt like they were lying, right?
Yeah.
And so you didn't like that solution because
Right.
not because maybe the outcome is like
yeah, well,
like there's something that doesn't feel quite right there for you, right?
No, fuck you, no. Okay, it's not, because he's framing it as more pragmatic, and I agree. If it were more pragmatic, it'd be good, and it sort of makes sense, his argument, why it is more pragmatic. So even if I don't agree with it on principle, that still would make sense, but I also don't think it's more pragmatic, because I think that it's a slippery slope, because you're letting people make demands about language that are you shouldn't. The compromise only goes in one direction. The trans people in that community are saying you have to do this or else you're out. They're making an unreasonable demand, and they are unsatisfied with the compromise of only making their demand go half as far as it used to go. It's still a demand, and you are still compromising by giving up to their demands, and so like it's only going in one direction. So that's why I don't agree with
that. Do you think which direction is it going in?
You are referring to them.
It's going against the conservative people, you're saying.
Yeah. There is a group saying you have to change your language because I want you to. That's what I like. You have to use different language with me. And even if you don't believe about me, you have to use different language about me. You have to call me something different than what you see me as. And the conservatives like, no, that's just unprecedented. This is English language, and this is how it works, and this is how I see you, and that's the world we live in, and you can't control how I see you. And then his compromise is, well, instead of going all the way and referring to them exactly how they want, you just have to not refer to them in a way that
they don't want.
Yeah, but like that's not fair, because that's just like how our language works. And I think that if you are trans, you're gonna have to like, and you want to function in society, you're gonna have to live with the fact that there are religious people, or people that maybe aren't religious, but there are people that just don't agree with you, and you can't force them to agree with you or pretend to agree with you. That's not okay. It's not reasonable.
Okay, I guess I don't know. I think his compromise is good, but I think maybe this isn't going to be as relevant to what we were talking about as I thought.
Yeah, I know.
Let's see then. What's another good example? Oh, I kind of wanted to talk about ChatGPT
Okay.
because like you said you can't know like what an accurate narrative of yourself is, right? Like when you go to analyze yourself, you're like looking at yourself through this like clouded lens, and you're seeing like all the interactions between
Yeah,
things.
and you're just infinitely biased, so you need
Yeah,
other people. You need criticism to be able to see yourself well at all.
yeah. And I think I agree with that. And I think that like AI or like GPT-4 is like a good way of like outsourcing that.
But the AI is informed by human bias and bullshit. We're talking about narratives that are human constructs. So if you let the AI do it, you're just taking a nail, because it's like you got a sheet that's moving around on a wall, and you're just taking a nail and you're hitting it, and it's like where the sheet is now is what we're gonna go with forever. But really, these definitions about what we define things as socially, these psychological definitions like a fucking personality diagnosis and stuff, they're constantly shifting constellations that are not really a solid tangible thing. They're just constructed narratives. So I don't think there is an objective way that you can have ChatGPT do it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not as important to me to have like some objectively right thing, but I think it's more important to be able to point towards like some justification. And if if
Standardization, I don't we think we should what it's going to do is it's
or
going
not
to
standardization, um justification.
by way of
Like, okay, do
standardization.
you know the okay, I just learned this recently in one of my classes. But so this is kind of basically why I wanted to think about this. But there's like some different thought experiments about like where morality comes from. And one of them is saying that um
It's your feelings.
if if morality comes from God, then like where did God get like morality from? And like are things moral because God said they were moral, or did God say they were moral because they were moral? And so I think that like is a similar problem to this thing about like the self narrative, where you can't be the one to like justify your own self narrative in like a satisfying way.
I
Like
don't
I think like what you said, like it has to be coming from someone else.
I don't agree. I think you need criticism, but like that's what I was starting off with. I think that I already identified that you think it has to come from someone else, but I think it has to come from you. But the way that you can see yourself is fundamentally different than how other people see you. They how they see you is going to be more tied to these rigid social narratives. You're a man, you're black, you're Jewish, you're woman, you're Asian, whatever. Those will be part of it. They'll be like you seem BPD. You're like one of those types. You're like you seem ADHD or whatever, and like you've told me this about your past or whatever. That's all true, but and yeah, I don't know. I just don't think you should start from what other people think about you to define yourself. I think that that's a recipe for disaster, and I think that we do that way too much these days. We're all plugged into this collective unconsciousness of social media. Social contagion is a big problem, and I think that means what it means is we are very enmeshed with a lot of toxicity and ideas about ourselves that are unhelpful to us. So someone else's narrative about you might be helpful for them, and it might be right and helpful for them, and it might be harmful for you.
Okay, I feel like somehow for me, like blathering, I think you said exactly what I meant to say. But like, that's so crazy. Because you're saying that in contradiction to what I was saying. But that's what I was trying to say.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
I'm really
But yeah,
well,
that's
maybe I just made
crazy.
you think that. I don't know.
No, because my whole point about like writing poetry and or like writing in general and like GPT-4 was I think you should do some you should define yourself, and then if you want to feel like if you want to somehow verify it, then you can use GPT-4.
But what do you mean by verify it?
I don't know. I think it's kind of like okay, now we're going in a loop, but I think it's kind of lame if you're like, okay, um like I'm Smeth. I'm um I am like a cool artist. I'm very creative. Um like this this is like my philosophy, and uh like these are the axioms of my philosophy, and it's gonna like and if people follow it, they're gonna create like a better world, or if they follow it, they're gonna be able to accept themselves, or like this is how you can like get out of an abusive situation. And I think
I'm not sure.
wait.
Okay.
I think that while on one level we can say that this only works for you, so it doesn't have to be like generalizable to other people,
Maybe.
I think you should still have like some more rigor in wanting to understand if like your beliefs about yourself are
Universal.
rational.
I feel like you just conflated so many things that it's impossible to respond well, because you're not talking about what I think about myself. You're talking about my philosophy and prescriptions I might have. And I say it's like
Okay, that's true. That's
even if my
true.
philosophy
Okay.
is correct about you, it doesn't mean it's the most useful thing. Like when I was talking to Drew and he started hinting at like saying he thinks that he might be covert narcissist, and then I thought of it before he got to it, and I was like, and then took a pause and I was like, I'm not going to say that to him because I don't think he's a covert narcissist, but he's describing himself like one. But to say that to him is, first of all, I think it's not true. I think it is true that it matches the description he gave about himself in that specific situation, but I also don't think it's true, and I think to tell him that would fuck him up more, so I didn't tell him that.
But do you think, okay, this is a good example, right? Because, okay, what I was saying about like the whole philosophy thing, I think that's like kind of a red herring. Like that was a bad example. But I think this is good. I think you're really smart. Okay. But like it's like Drew has like this narrative about himself that you think that he might be like a covert narcissist,
I
right?
don't think he is. I think he thinks he is, and I think he's paranoid about it, and because he's paranoid about it, he probably isn't, you know. And also you just like I could tell in that conversation he was welled up with a lot of emotionality that kind of stopped him in his tracks, and the act of stopping him in his tracks seems like what was the thing that makes him think he's a covert narcissist, but it's still the thing underneath still exists. He's behaving like that, but that's not because he doesn't have the thing that's making him. I could see the thing making him behave like that, but
Okay.
it's different.
Yeah. I don't think I was watching that part or something. Maybe that was a different conversation.
I watched it like 3 times.
Okay. But anyways, so don't you think it would be great if like Drew could have some way of validating his opinion that he's a covert narcissist to himself?
So you're talking about like a ChatGPT diagnostician.
Or I think it's like more esoteric because we were talking about psychology earlier. Like, I don't think it's something where it's like, oh, like you're like 6 feet tall, like 230 pounds, like you're a football player. I think it's um, okay, I'm like, I guess it would be some sort of diagnostician, but like
But
maybe you talk to this.
I think that even that would feed into the thing you were saying was bad, which is the victimhood mentality, because I think that really identifying with a diagnosis is in itself a harm. And it can be useful, like in the case that you truly are never going to change or anything. But that's often not even the case, and it's hard to know if that's not the case. So to diagnose somebody is like a very dangerous thing. You should, if at all possible, not do it.
Okay, well, I don't.
As a
Okay,
layman, me and
I have a problem
him,
with that.
as a layman, as laymen's, me and him just talking about, oh, are we
Yeah.
narcissists or not? As different from like a psychiatrist AI, being like,
Yeah.
you are you know what I mean? And
Because that has so high stakes, right?
yeah,
If you get diagnosed as like a narcissist by like some AI, like you're gonna be like, holy shit, like I have to
how do
change
I
my
deal
life.
with
And
that? Well,
yeah,
no, because that would be
And-
different. Because it would be like, to be diagnosed as a narcissist by something that like you believe is objective. That would mean, like you say, change my life, but
ooh,
it would not be helpful. I don't think it's almost not helpful at all unless you want to learn how to, like, the best case scenario that I would think that would be helpful is like you realize that you literally need narcissistic supply to survive, and then you're like, okay, how can I secure a constant stream of narcissistic supply without hurting people? That would be the way that you would have to,
like
that would be
the pedo analogy or something.
pedo. Oh yeah, like like yeah, like looking at lolly or whatever. Yeah, except I don't think that like you would get diagnosed as being a pedophile and then be like, oh shit, I should look at lolly. It'd probably go the other way around, right? So like with this, it would be like you would realize that oh shit, you're right. After all, it was narcissistic supply that would kept me going through all these hard nights. The only thing that really made me feel any better was imposing myself on others and getting them to give me a ego boost. And then you learn that about yourself. First of all, you're not going to care that you're hurting other people unless you decide to value that. And I don't know, it's just not going to be useful. I don't think so.
But okay, this is where I disagree because I think there's some utility to be gained here. Like, I think, okay, so what's like the starting condition? So, like, let's say you do nothing, right? Like, Drew, he's like, maybe I might be narcissistic, but I'm not really gonna think about it too much. But like, maybe it kind of influences how like I interact with people. Like, maybe I'm second guessing myself sometimes. But on the whole, it's probably a lot less impactful than if like some psychologist were to tell him like, okay, you're like a narcissist. But
If
I think this is where I think this is where the
Less
black box,
less impactful if GPT did it.
or it would be, I think, okay, so I'm going to,
Depends
less
how.
impactful if ChatGPT did it than a psychologist.
I don't know.
Because
No, actually,
I
no.
wouldn't want, because
These.
I wouldn't want ChatGPT diagnosing people as like a narcissist.
Yeah,
I would want it
but
saying
it's
like,
already better at diagnosing people for medical conditions, so there's no reason to think it would be worse at that for these psychological
or wait, I feel like we're,
but the thing about
this is,
the thing about a personality disorder or a psychological condition is that it's not like a health condition. It's actually just a made up narrative that we made to make sense of shit, and then every time we try to fucking rewrite the DSA, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, DSM. Like every time we do that, it's different. Every single fucking time, we're constantly rewriting these narratives. So to be diagnosed as one of those things that we're constantly rewriting in the first place is fucking not useful.
it's already like meaningless, right?
But also,
But
in
I would,
personality disorder is only useful in how you impact others.
yeah. But okay, maybe this, okay. But I'm not thinking that like you're gonna go to ChatGPT and like answer some questions and then it's gonna like come out with something. Like I wouldn't want the production of the AI to be a diagnosis. I would want it to be something that you have to like interpret yourself. Like for example,
Like a riddle,
if you, yeah, like a riddle, like it might, like you might
like a
write
fortune
something.
cookie.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, these are like some of the themes I like found in your writing.
But
Like,
that's already life. So you're
but
just
I
saying
think,
like having a critic. A
or
passive
I think,
aggressive critic that wants to get at something. So like I'm gonna give you criticism. What if the reason that you wrote that in your writing is because of your mom? Huh? Ever thought about that? Oh, just asking questions. If they really have a point that they're getting to, I don't like that, but I do like the idea of using ChatGPT as like so say you write poetry to workshop your poetry. Could give you constructive feedback or like about your behavior and your actions. That'd be cool. Feedback about specific behaviors and specific actions sounds great. Narrative diagnosis of you seems bad,
okay,
wrong, and not
I
useful.
can agree with that. I can agree with that.
I
But
would
okay, I
love
just
to have
have
it
to
as
say
a
this
critic.
because it's so smart.
I would love to have a critic, ChatGPT, because I could trust it way more than I could trust all these fucking assholes.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes, okay, do you know how like credit card security works?
Credit card security?
Yeah.
What is that?
So I don't know if they still use it because I think they're like with increased computing power, it might have made it obsolete. But the way that like things are encrypted is using I'm gonna look it up because
Oh shit,
it's
that made you look
using
way better.
what?
Never mind.
Okay, no, it's because my like Chrome tab is black, so it will, whatever. But there's some function that is easy to encode information with, but it's hard to like decode. And I think it's like a square root function or something. And you put it in, and then it will like jumble it up, and then you send it out. And if the other person has the correct, oh, I think it might be multiplying square roots or something. And like
So that's
the,
like a hash.
it's hard to tell what two numbers were the, like the, what are they called? The things that you multiply together, the factors. It's hard to tell like which two numbers were the factors of the square root multiplication.
Yeah, they
But if you
use
have one
this
of the
isn't just credit
factors,
cards. They do this for like everything. For your password, when you type it in
yeah.
on
But if you have one of
Amazon.com.
the factors, it's easy to tell what the other factor was. So I'm thinking if like you want some feedback, like maybe you as the person have like one factor that you like know about, and then you write something up in some sort of like black box. Because I think a lot of your writing, a lot of the things that you're gonna include in like your writing or your art or whatever are like more subconscious. And so that would be similar, like analog to like the root multiplication. And then if like the AI critic or whatever can get out of it through its like black box
What
analysis,
are you
it can
trying
get
to?
out of it the other root,
What
then
is the
there's
root?
some
What is the root?
like what is the function that
What
you're
do
applying
you
to
want
the
it? Because I think it would be fine to use as a critic. Also, I think it would be bad if everybody was using the same critic. It would make everybody boring, so it would be useless. Then it would like be like unhelpful. You would
you
actually
have to
want it.
train it yourself first.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't. It's just not. I don't like.
It's
What do you want it to tell you? When you say there is a thing that it needs to tell you that you don't know. But what if you don't need to know that? You didn't want to know
you
that.
already know the thing that it's going to tell you.
So you're gonna ask it a specific question about yourself?
You already know something about yourself, and you go through a like a subconscious evaluation of yourself aided by the AI, and it's supposed to output what you already know about yourself.
What you already know about yourself.
Yeah, but you have to decode it. Okay, this just seems like some like mental masturbation to do, but I think it'd be cool.
It sounds like it might be cool. Yeah, it might be cool.
Okay, I'm starting to see this is not very much related to blindness and deafness.
That's fine.
Okay.
It
Do
doesn't
you
have to
think
be.
are you enforcing your rationality on me? You're preventing me from being rational? What was it that you're supposed to be doing?
I said I would crush your rationalization.
Crush my rationalizations. Hmm. What other thing did I want to rationalize about? Oh, what do you think about like transhumanism?
It's bad.
Why?
Cause I'm for augmented humanism, but I think that transhumanism means taking parts out. And at any point that I can imagine us taking parts out and putting new parts in, I think that there's always going to be a loss unless we got to the point where we could like start like thinking about doing something like that and then waited for like another 2 times that length of time of human history. And then once we're that evolved, then maybe we can start fucking with ourselves. But no, like I don't want us to take pills to fucking be different. I don't want us to fucking yeah, I don't know. No.
Or you said you're fine with augmented humanity, but
Yeah.
not taking parts out.
Yeah.
It's like what do you think are the parts that people want to take out when they're talking about like transhumanism?
When you
I'm not like really familiar with that ideology either.
like so I if you want to cure depression in humans and you create a drug that makes so nobody's ever depressed, you think you've solved a problem, but really you've just taken something away. And that like
Okay.
for instance, mental illness and personality disorders, I believe, are not like a total fuck up. I think that people with mental illnesses and personality disorders also have certain potential. had they had better life situations or circumstances or environment, they would those would be skills or tools rather than a hindrance. And it's just part of like human psychology. And
Okay, I
society, or
don't
there,
think that's a very rational take.
I do. Why is that not rational? So you think that we evolved fucking
Yeah, it's like a appeal to evolution. But
okay.
our environment, okay, so what you're saying is that if the environment now was more similar to the environment of evolution, then like
No.
those things wouldn't be a problem, right?
No. No.
Okay, what were you saying then?
I'm saying that mental illnesses and personality disorders, things like that that we see as negative attributes are just normal human psychology engaging with unhealthy environments, unhealthy childhood, unhealthy development. And the things that lead to those unhealthy outcomes can also lead to and be expressed in healthy outcomes. So if you are like if there is like a big association with mental illness and people who are geniuses that move society forward. All these people seem to be mentally ill. And
Okay,
like, so it's not like just some defect that we have to get rid of. If we were to get rid of mental illness, we would have got rid of every great artist or great artist, scientist, inventor, basically all of them. So to get rid of that would be a great loss for humanity.
okay.
That's what I
I
think.
think that kind of makes sense then. Because okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. It's like maybe you'd be fine like removing something like people aren't gonna have like heart failures, but
Yeah,
you wouldn't want to remove
but
like people's
it's tricky.
fetishes or like
It's tricky because like I forget the name of some disease, but there's some disease that I was learning about that like makes it so that your life expectancy is way lower because once you get to like it's some kind of immune disease or some kind of I don't think it's
autoimmune disease.
something like that, but like as you get to 50, it means your body starts like fucking up in a way that you die faster. But these people have multiplied faster than other people. This genetic defect has seemed to spread a lot. There's a lot of people with this. I forget what it is.
I
And
think I know what you're talking about.
the real reason is because until you're 50, through all of your procreative years, the years where you can make children, you're actually have a boosted immune system. So the likelihood of you reproducing is way higher. So is it really a negative or is it a positive? So when we talk about
I'd say in this
heart
society
failure,
it's a negative.
sure, but when we talk about heart failure, why? So you want to change human genetics so that we don't get heart failure. Well, when you're fucking with that shit, what else are you affecting? There's going to be
Just heart failure. But you're saying like there's some like butterfly effect where like if people don't have like heart failure, they're gonna start like
the thing that
smoking and then
the gene that might give you a propensity to have heart failure also might make it so you don't get cancer.
okay. But we're assuming that like this. I feel like that's like kind of a reductive analysis because like we don't really care to like the cancer thing specifically. I think if you're talking about like this thing where people like as a side effect of the other one, like maybe people say like, okay, I only have 50 years to live. Like maybe that makes them really productive in like their first 50 years, or maybe it makes them try new things that other people wouldn't try or like take more risks. I think that is like something that you would want to protect, right? But
Maybe.
I don't think, yeah, I think it's not really interesting to think about like, oh, is this gene also like the gene for like I think having it boost your immune system for the previous 50 years isn't like interesting in this hypothetical.
I'm not talking about interesting. I'm just saying that there are any negative any negative outcome that you have that could be expressed through genetics. To get rid of that negative outcome by changing genetics is going to have ramifications that you don't understand. Most likely, maybe not. Down syndrome is a clear-cut case. If you could make it so that we don't get Down syndrome, you're going to improve humanity. But I think to my knowledge, you're going to probably improve humanity's genes. But heart disease people who are more likely to have heart disease might actually be people that, because of the thing that makes them more likely to get heart disease also makes them less likely to get cancer or whatever. It could be any number of things. It could be that they're more
Okay, I don't really see
to,
like the difference between heart disease and Down syndrome here.
because Down syndrome is like an extra chromosome mishap. But it's
Or,
possible.
like you're talking about like the actual biology behind it.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually worked in like a
You had Down syndrome?
chromosome like research type thing in a high school. And the interconnectedness of like the pathways and like the signaling is not like, I don't think you would be able to say that like heart disease is going to be more interconnected than like Down syndrome.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, then
sorry,
don't change either.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. This is like the
way I see Down syndrome is like you just got to make it so that mishap doesn't happen during pregnancy, right? When the genes get combined, right?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's all chromosomal abnormalities. But
Yeah.
okay, that was pointless. Let's see, what else did I think was interesting? Did you see like the lab tweet about Israel Palestine?
What? No. What is it?
Okay.
What did you
I
say?
thought
I've been looking at Twitter less.
Oh, okay, that's good for you.
Yeah. What did
She
she
said
say?
that it's gonna be
What'd she
like
say?
a forever war. She said it's gonna be a forever war, and you should be on the side of the more Western country because it would have better.
Yeah. So I agree with her.
standards of living.
I saw her arguing about this on Wick. I agree with her entire analysis, but just not with her position. She's right about her entire analysis, but her position is fucking insane.
Wait, what's your position?
That you should be on Israel's side or whatever.
That you should just hope they like win the war.
She also thinks that like Islam is like not gonna be like the future of humanity. I don't know. Like it seems like
you think it is gonna be the future of humanity?
It's seems kind of possible. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't really. What about it is like so?
The amount that it's spreading, it is mimetically very powerful too. Way more. The way you practice it is way more ritualistic, and I just think that it's like. So what she was saying was like
what types of people
she was saying the
to
United States wouldn't exist without like Christianity, Protestantism, stuff like that, and that's kind of true. And liberalism wouldn't exist, and liberalism is like will go extinct. Like, it's way more likely that liberalism will go extinct than than anything else. I don't want it to, but
Okay,
and also
I'm
she was
just
saying that Israel
curious.
is. She was saying like wrongly, retardedly, that Israel's full of like liberals and like progressives. No, no,
No?
no.
Okay, when I was there were like protests like every day by all the liberals.
Then why are they still
But
like? Why are they still Netanyahuing it up?
I mean, why do we have Trump, right? Like,
Okay,
I guess it
because
just
we have a
comes down to
lot
who
of
votes and
conservatives.
yeah. Or was she saying that like the majority of people are liberal?
Yeah.
Oh, well, like that, probably not. And then, but what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like what about like what type of people are converting to Islam? Because I don't think that like people in Western countries would be like converting to Islam. I don't think
There
people
are
in Asian
people. There
countries
are
would be
people in
converting.
Western countries converting to Islam actually, and there's also people in fucking I don't know, Africa, India, maybe China. I don't fucking know, but yeah, it's just growing
I
rapidly.
mean, China is like genociding the
I don't know.
the
I don't know. I
Islamic
just know they're
people.
growing rapidly.
Okay, because just based on like
Let's look up some statistics.
development, I would assume that people would become less religious over time.
Yeah, I think that that is a fallacy. I mean, I would like to think that is true. Um, okay, between 2000, so this is I just googled growth of Islam. This is why I was confident in saying this without knowing much exactly, because it's just an obvious fact that is understood. The first result, Wikipedia, Muslim population growth. Between 2015 and 2060, Muslim population is projected to increase by 70%. This compares with the 32% growth of world population during the same time period.
But they're converting people from like other religions, right?
I don't know.
Okay, because what I
There,
think
I'm
is
saying
happening,
it's that the population of Muslims is projected to increase. It doesn't say anything about converting, but it's going to increase way faster than the human population
right now.
between now and 2060.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's like if okay, so you're saying like if the like Muslim people have children and the children are also Muslim, then like eventually like the whole world is going to be Muslim, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I think they're converting people. They're also probably having more children. Any number of things.
Okay,
Whatever goes into the data, they're just going to be more Muslims.
because I think um
When we're
like
old, there will be more Muslims percentage wise than there were when right now.
yeah, I think right now, so the two like factors that are driving it would probably be like conversion and then like birth rate. But I think the other equations that would be driving it down would be like development and like the reverse of birth rate trends. So I think
Okay, Pew
maybe
Research
like a
Center.
tipping point where
Why Muslims are the world's fastest growing religious group. In the next half century or so, Christianity's long reign as the world's largest religion may come to an end, according to just released a report that builds on Pew Research Center's original population growth projections for religious groups. Indeed, Muslims will grow more than twice as fast the overall world population between 2015 and 2060. In the second half of this century, will likely surpass Christians as the world's largest religious group. There's a like chart here, a graph. We're comparing it. While the world's
or
population
what's the
is
explanation?
the explanation. Muslims have more children than members of 7 other major religious groups. Muslims have the youngest median age. The median age is 24. A larger share of Muslims will soon be at the point in their lives when people begin having children. More than a third of Muslims are concentrated in Africa, the Middle East, regions that are projected to have the biggest population increases.
Okay, but those are also like the least developed nations. It's like as they develop, their birth rate is going to sharply decline, right? So there's going to be a tipping point eventually where it gets to like a maximum and then it starts going down.
I don't know.
Okay, whatever. That's actually the same problem in Israel though, because all of the like all of the crazy people have like a whole bunch of children.
Yeah.
And then like the liberal people don't, and then you get the crazy people in charge, the inbred people.
Yeah, I think that liberalism is very dangerous and precarious. So you gotta have something like a constitution or something to protect it. I don't know what the fuck Israel has. It's a fucking ethno state. I hate Israel. I hate Israel and I hate Palestine. I think they both fucking suck. Whenever anybody's like picking sides, I'm like, gee. It's like why? Like it's like you're like enjoying it like it's a sport. They both suck and they're both doing horrible things.
Yeah, I feel like I'd say like I hate the government of Israel and I hate the government of Palestine.
Sure, yeah.
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 Okay.
I think what we should do is we should make it so that like we could just like let's just give them an option, everyone there in both Israel and Palestine, option to be U.S. citizens, and then everybody that wants to be a U.S. citizen, we just get like Apache helicopters and airlift them out, and then like say, and then build a wall around Israel and Palestine, and then just leave everyone else there and say, and throw a bunch of guns in, and then just come back in 20 years.
See who wins.
No, they'll all be dead.
I don't know. I think that's kind of sounds like what already happened.
Yeah, but I don't think everybody there really wants that to happen.
Yeah. People don't want what's good for them.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I like was able to talk about everything that I want to talk about. Oh, no, actually one thing. I want to talk about the unschooling thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think I also had this experience of like not really like doing any like that much like school related stuff in school. Like I would kind of just like read during all of my classes, which I could do because I went to like a liberal like school. I didn't have to like do homework or anything.
Oh, wow.
But I also heard that like Destiny like in school was like also one of these people who like kind of bullshitted through it. And I was like, I don't know. Like I guess I'm curious, do you think that's like a personality trait of like individual people? Or do you think just like everyone like kind of just does what they can to like not be?
I think that men do this a lot more than women. A lot more. I think the data sort of suggests that too. And like the more boys are in a classroom, the worse their grades are. The more girls are in a classroom, like the male grades. The worse their male grades are, the more boys are in. And so you're a boy, you're gonna do better the more girls are in your classroom. It seems like
interesting.
Like when I was in school, I was like, I would like look at the females around me and I'd be like, oh, they're doing their homework, and like I was like, oh, maybe I should do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of a male thing, and I don't know about it aside from that.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah. That like, women. I don't even know if it's because like, but like we pressure them into being really I
Like
don't know if
rule
it's social
following.
pressure or what, but yeah, they women seem to be more conformist in a way that is making them conform to things like TikTok trends and shit.
Yeah. I think they're also more neurotic.
Maybe, I don't know.
But I wonder what percentage of that is um like cultural versus
Yeah.
um like biological.
I think there's definitely some culturalness to it. And I think the only way to know biological is to test for cultural. And then once you got nothing left,
That's the
maybe,
biological.
maybe that's biological. And then until you figure out something else to test for, and then you test for that, and you realize, oh, it's a little bit less biological than we thought. But I don't know. I think that there's a lot of reasons to think that we socialize women too. Also, I think it is also the way that young boys are hormonally requires sort of a different environment. And so I think that we aren't giving young boys the right schooling environment at a young age. Um, yeah. I remember reading about that. There's a lot of data behind that. And the way that we're treated younger then affects us later in life. And so I think men are just going to start being dumber and dumber.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I find really interesting is like what what's gonna happen when okay, so right now it's like there's less men like in higher education, like they have like negative income growth trend like compared to women. And I'm like wondering
I don't fucking know, dude.
and I feel like a bystander. Like I don't know. I think this has always been my like a, one of my like interests since I was little is like wanting like interesting things to happen. Like I would listen to the radio and I'd be like, oh, I hope something interesting happens today. But you don't really care.
I don't know. I just don't think about it like that.
Hmm. Like, do you think it's more like close to your like? Do you think you have like more of a emotional connection to it? So like, it's you're
I'm
not really
focused.
like seeing.
I'm focused on my own shit.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess that is like a very like childlike mentality to have.
Huh.
I also want there to be a civil war. I think that'd be interesting.
You're out of your mind. Someone in chat said Smeth said religion is a mental illness, therefore bad. Also, Smeth, mental illnesses are things that ought not be gotten rid of due to their benefits. No, that's not what I said. I said that they shouldn't be removed from like the gene pool or cured. And I think that religion functions as a mental illness, but it has the outcome of mental illness. like you could be delusional. Like for instance, if you were going to take any profit from any like religious text and then move them forward in history to right now, and you sent them to a psychiatrist or whatever, they diagnose them and put them in a straitjacket. It'd say you need to take care of you. You can't, you can't function. So it's like a belief system that leads to you being delusional. You shouldn't like give people pills to prevent them from being delusional, but you can also try to educate people. That's what I think. But also it does a lot of good, and it's the world we live in. And I respect religion, and I learn a lot of things from religion, and there's a lot that I like about religion.
My mom at dinner when I was back home, she said she'd disown me if she found me getting into any religion. Sorry, that was like a non sequitur. Do you have a Goodreads account?
Nope.
I think Goodreads is going to be the next big social media. I think you should make one.
Maybe. All right. Anything else? What? Any last words?
Not trying to 1-for-1 IRL.
What? Not trying to 1-for-1 IRL?
Oh, okay. This is the last thing. It's like, okay, so, let's say you're in a car, right? And someone else is driving. And
I said any last words, not any last fucking whole fucking thing.
Okay, this is just a small thing. Like,
okay,
I'm not
fine,
like
fine.
If someone is driving unsafely, I'm gonna try and like not die. Or like if I see someone is like speeding along the sidewalk, I'm gonna like be paying attention while I'm like walking so I don't get ran over. Just some good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like be aware of your mortality.
No shit.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for talking. I feel like I've come to a better understanding of my philosophy here. I have to do some work on it.
All right. All right, have a good day.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.
All right. I feel like my emotions have been crushed by rationalizations. That conversation was exhausting for me. But you know what? You fucking think I'm not aware of my mortality? Bitch. I was born a fatality. When I'm at the fucking mall, they'll say I had an alibi, but I'm just trying to pass you by. Don't even look me in the eye. My Smeth heads. Good night. I'll see you soon. There'll be more streams. There'll be good streams. I'm gonna be auctioned off. To slavery. I need to finish writing my shit. I need to do my projects. I need to get some shit out there. Some shit that's not some fucking streams. I need to fucking fly. I need to fucking make this shit happen. I need to fucking do this shit. Fucking fuck. What the fuck am I doing here talking to you? I need to fucking flap my wings. You know, fucking flap my fucking Flappy Bird wings. Get the fuck out of here. Good night.